it's very easy to get full of yourself when you're successful in anything.
Right.
And that's also the time that you get humbled.
This is a journey.
Let me take you on a journey.
There will still be the journey.
The journey.
New sheriff in town, and his name is the journey.
Journey.
This thing is bigger than Nino Brown. This is the journey.
The journey.
What is it that moved you?
The journey. The journey. The journey. The journey.
Welcome back to another episode of The Journey. I'm your host, Larry Robinson, and today we got a Scoutmaster, y'all. We got a Scoutmaster of all Scoutmasters. But before we go there, let's talk about this quote. The quote comes from the great businessman Ken Chenault. You will know him from American Express fame. So check it out. It goes, dedicate yourself to a core set of values. Without them, you will never be able to find personal fulfillment, and you will never be able to lead effectively. Now, this brother, Richard Fisher, he's straight out of the south side of Chicago, also spent a little bit of time in the Lou, St. Louis, that is. He's a PK, man. He's the son of a preacher and a teacher. True Scoutmaster, as I shared with you, and that comes from his time with the Boy Scouts of America. Now he's a master artist, he's a father, and I like to call him Marcy's husband. So without further ado, Brother Richard Fisher.
All right.
What's up, brother?
Everything's
How you
good,
doing,
Larry?
man?
I'm good.
Good. I'm glad you could be here, man. You didn't bring no paintings or nothing?
No, we didn't do that.
Oh, okay.
Not this time. So you have to invite me back and we can do that.
So, man, okay, well, we opened up the show. We said that we wanted you to comment on that quote that we had up from Ken Chenault.
Sure.
And I just would wonder, how did that impact you, and what were your thoughts?
Well, I guess in terms of core values that guided me throughout my life and my career, it begins with faith. You said I was a PK, but I'm really a SOB.
Okay.
And that's son of a bishop, not what you was thinking.
Son of a bishop.
So faith is critical.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Nothing happens for me without faith.
Okay.
And you couple that with accountability, and you can get some things done. When you're
Leadership.
passionate, and it all comes down to, for me, who I believe in,
Right.
and what he allows me to do.
Okay.
And then being accountable for what that is.
Okay.
Whether it's good or bad,
I got you.
and recognizing who helped me through it.
Gotcha. All right, so tell me about them early years. Now, you was early Chicago.
Early Chicago.
But your main childhood was made up of St. Louis?
It was really split in half.
Really?
From a couple of months old to 10 was Chicago.
Okay.
All Chicago, and it was running the south side,
Okay.
riding bikes to downtown, Rainbow Beach, just having a good time. Things that kids don't get to do these days.
Right.
And then with my father being a Methodist minister, we transferred to St. Louis.
Okay.
And that was interesting as well because, in St. Louis, in Chicago where we were raised, it was predominantly black.
Right.
By the time we were able to move to St. Louis, we moved to the suburbs. It's predominantly white.
Okay.
So I went through my first real culture shock at 10, 11 years old, and it was kind of eye-opening then.
Wow. Okay. So growing up in the neighborhood, let's go to St. Louis. Who outside of your immediate family, mother and father, sister, who outside of that had the biggest influence on young Richard Fisher?
On young Richard Fisher would be Robert Spencer.
Okay, and who's that?
Robert Spencer was a guy I met the first day of 6th grade in this new city, in university. He was one of 4 other black kids in the school that I was in. And me and Robert we were tight, man. We neither of us had brothers, so we became each other's brother.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
And we hung out, we traveled together, we did everything together. Our families did things together, you know. When his mom passed, he was in Spain or somewhere on a naval ship, and my mother and father and sister was with Rob's sister and mother when she passed.
Wow.
So he had a lot to do with, you know, those early teenage years and getting ready to jump off to college and all that stuff.
Okay, where'd you go to school?
Kansas University.
You went to Kansas, J-Hall.
That's right, chapter.
Oh, you know what I forgot to tell y'all? He's a brother of that Crimson and Cream.
Absolutely.
He's a brother, Kappa Alpha Psi. So
say
please, I deserve to be slapped because I ain't said that on the front end.
You know, it's all good though.
So what decision did you make as a young person that ended up having really a lifelong impact, even though you might not have known it at the time?
I think the biggest decision that was made, I didn't make for me.
Really?
You know, and it's kind of what I think we miss today in this society. My parents made the biggest decision for me that was a part of my life, because it was my mother that used to take me to the Chicago Art Institute.
Really?
That's where I learned about art.
Okay.
And she was my teacher.
Okay.
And we went there, it was free.
Okay.
So, and we could ride the bus down, you know, from the south side downtown. And it was good. So I went on to Kansas University thinking I was going to be a graphic designer and photographer.
Right.
And then reality hit me with a baby and needing to make some money, and art wasn't doing it. So then you fast forward 38 years later, and somebody's paying me to do art now.
Right. Wow. She planted a seed a long time ago.
She saw something that that a parent is supposed to see. Right? Parents that are raising their children see what they like, what they don't like, what they might have a talent in.
Right, right.
And try to guide them in that direction.
Okay.
And that's what she did.
When'd you know you was gonna be okay? When could you look in the mirror and say, you know what, I can do this thing called life?
This morning. Life is hard, man. I don't know. Look, I'm grateful, and I feel blessed for my life. But mastering it, man, or really thinking I had a good hold, because it seemed to me like every time I figure I got a good hold on it, something changes.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, something, I mean, because it's life, right?
Right.
We don't know about when COVID's going to hit or next recession, what, all those things affect your life. You think you have your life together, and then some hits.
Right.
Is your life together?
No, not at the moment.
So, not at the moment, but it gets back on quick.
It gets back on track.
I can tell you like this, I can get back on track a whole lot quicker than I used to get back on track.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah, but I still feel like it's a process. It's a continuous process of becoming who I am and learning how to life.
Okay. So most brothers that I know got that one moment in life where they realized that they were being treated differently because of the color of their skin. Is there a moment like that for you?
Well,
Hold on. Listen, we're gonna come right back on the journey. Brother Richard Fisher is going to share with us that moment he realized he was going to be treated a little different in this lifetime. Listen, stay right there. We'll be right back in a second.
You know, success in life is never a straight line. It's full of twists, turns, highs, lows, and every single event, every single step shapes who we become. This season, the journey is stretching out even further. We're stepping into new communities, meeting new voices, sharing new paths, And it's all about reaching more men so we can impact more young boys, letting them know that life is in fact a journey. Think about it. The road is where we grow, where we stumble and rise, where we discover strengths we didn't even know we had. The journey is the teacher. The journey is the gift. And it's in those steps, those moments, those experiences that our future is shaped. And that's why the journey is here, to inspire the next generation. By uplifting young boys, these stories become a guide. They show that obstacles can be overcome. Dreams are worth chasing, and every path, every single path has value. I'm Larry Robinson, your host, and I want you to walk with me as we uncover stories of strength, of passion, of resilience, and of humanity in every community we touch. Because these stories matter, and our boys, they deserve to hear them.
Welcome back to The Journey. Now today we have the ultimate Scoutmaster, Brother Richard Fisher. Came from Chicago, went to St. Louis, even told us he's a real SOB. Son of a bishop, that is. So listen, but before we left, we asked him about when he realized he was gonna be treated a little different as a black man. But before we go there, I have to ask you, what's your superpower, Richard? What's that thing that you can do better than anybody you know?
I don't know that I can do anything better than anybody I know.
Mm-hmm.
But I know I'm passionate about prayer.
Really?
Yeah.
Passionate about prayer.
Yeah. So
Unpack that a little bit for those folks that might be listening.
It's the thing that gets me through.
Okay.
You know, you asked about core values on the top end, and faith was the first thing I said.
Right.
And I've learned that, you know, my relationship with God is everything.
So when did you get that understanding? Because at what point in your life did you say, you know what, it's my relationship with my supreme maker?
I don't know that there was one time. I think again it's just a series of events that happen where you get in those spaces and places where, as the old folks say, you get full of yourself. You know, and it's very easy to get full of yourself when you're successful in anything.
Right.
And that's also the time that you get humbled. And there were times when I was not humble enough, I think, and God reminded me who He is.
Mm-hmm.
And it put things in perspective for me at different times of my life for different reasons.
Okay.
Sometimes it was work related where you're like, hey, you ain't all that. Sometimes it was in my house. You ain't being what you're supposed to be.
Right.
So it just, you know, it's a journey.
Right.
It's not one thing I can think of. You know, I can think of the time when I want to be baptized. I can think of the time when I walked to the front of the church and want to commit my life to Christ. And those were outwardly symbolic things,
right,
that society recognizes as, okay, he's a Christian now, he's turned his life over.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't necessarily match up with, yes, I'm a Christian, but I like to go out and kick it.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You know, when you're a special teenager, you're trying to do as much as you can,
right, and
not get caught.
Right.
And that keeps on going. I've never been the perfect Christian. Right. I was always trying to be. So some of the things in my life didn't always line up with who I said I was. Yeah. So it's, again, being for me, being a Christian, that's a continuous process, because I fall so short so many times in so many different ways.
Okay. So, what was that moment when you realized
That I was
you
gonna
black?
get treated different?
Yeah.
Man, again, I'm gonna go from my Chicago to St. Louis transition.
Okay.
All right. I was in an all-black neighborhood, went to a 99% black school, everything around me was black.
Okay.
I was living in a time of segregation and all that, so my whole world was black except when I went downtown.
Right.
School was safe. My mother was a teacher, right? Well, she was being a student teacher at the time I was going to school,
Right.
but she was in the school. School was safe. That was a safe place, right? So we moved to St. Louis, went to all-white school. Everybody looked different,
Right.
all right? I hadn't been in that school more than a couple of months. I told you I met Robert. That was my best friend. He's a brother. I also met Brian. This white guy. Had some kind of handicap. Something was wrong with his leg, whatever. So this bully in the class was messing with Tom. And I'm a Tom friend. I mean, the bully in the class was messing with Brian. Tom is the bully. Brian's my friend.
Okay.
Hey, don't do that to him. It ain't right. Because that's how I was taught to deal with
Right.
Brian.
Right.
So his response to me, Tom, the bully's response to me was, F you, monkey. So I'm like, monkey? Ain't nobody ever called me a monkey,
Really?
right? So now I'm feeling a certain kind of way. And I started going to him, and Brian stopped me. And I guess because Brian saw the teacher. And the teacher said, y'all go sit down. So we're going to sit down, and Tom said, I'm gonna get you after school, nigga. He was bigger than me in height and weight.
Okay.
I don't know nobody but Robert and Brian. And I'm like, well, I gotta go home. I gotta
Right.
leave the school.
Right.
I walked out the front door, and he was standing there waiting for me. He took one swing and missed, and then it was over.
It was over.
It was over. It was over. It was over real bad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you walking down the street. Guy sees you across the street, make eye contact, he runs over to you and says, hey man, who are you? What would be your response?
Richard.
Okay. And who's that?
Richard. You gotta come with a little bit more than who are you if you just run across the street to say something to me.
Right.
You know, I don't consider myself to be a guarded person, but I am on guard these days. I mean, life has changed. Now, if you would have asked me that question 20 years ago,
Okay.
me and that guy would have had a whole conversation probably.
Okay.
But somebody run up on me now
Okay.
and ask who I am, I'm gonna be trying to figure out who he is and why he come running up on me.
I hear you. You on guard. on guard. Wow. Okay. All right. All right. So you go to Kansas. You go from black school, predominantly black surrounding. Go to St. Louis, predominantly white surrounding. You go to Kansas.
A whole white surrounding.
So what was that transition like, and how did you get to make that decision?
That decision was easy.
Okay. No HBCU in there?
No, there was no HBCU in there, and it was because my father knew who I was. He said, you go to a HBCU, you won't graduate. And he was right, I wasn't. Because I visited HBCUs when I went to school, and I would not have graduated.
Really?
Yeah. He said, what his position was real simple. He said, the world you're going into is white. You went to a school in the 6th grade that was mainly white. You saw what happened. All right. Now your junior high and your high school was more diverse.
Mm-hmm.
But he said, you go to Kansas University, one, I could get in-state tuition, and I didn't want to go to Mizzou because everybody was going to Mizzou.
Mm-hmm.
It had the major I wanted, and my girlfriend was in Kansas City.
Okay.
So all those things kind of worked together to get me up to Kansas. Okay. But it was 25,000 students there, 800 black.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Man. Where'd you find that internal fortitude, the ability to push yourself forward? Where did that come from?
I don't know, but I know it wasn't an option to come back home as a failure.
Okay.
Whatever that meant.
Right.
You wasn't gonna come, you know, I didn't have the best year after I graduated. I mean, the best year after I pledged. It was not a good semester for me that semester.
Okay.
Right? But I went on and finished it out. And I remember a conversation with my father, He's like, the rest of your educational experience is on you. And it is, you don't have a choice about not getting an education.
Right, but it's on you.
But it's on you. So I went to school in St. Louis for a year. And my determination was to get a degree from Kansas University where I started.
Right.
So after a year of being at home and saving my money, because now I'm working and going to school.
Right.
Because UMSL was pretty much a free ride since I was in state and stayed at home.
Right.
Kansas wasn't no free ride.
Right.
So I paid, and then once my money was involved, that helped me be real accountable.
You got real focus at that point. So you moved around with Boy Scouts of America, and you've gotten to see young men from all different walks of life. What did your father give you that many young men aren't getting?
A great example of how to be a man.
Okay.
I mean, just plain and simple. Get your butt up out of bed every day, go to work, whatever work is, whether it's school, whether it's a job, whether it's whatever. Protect the women in your group and keep it moving.
And you think that's what your father gave you that many young men don't get today?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you know, I can't even imagine what it would be like as a young man to, one, not know my father, or two, say, yeah, my daddy's a dope dealer, my daddy's strung out, my daddy's in jail, my daddy got killed doing something. I can't even imagine that. And that seems to be the story of so many young black men, that they can't have what I got. They didn't get it.
Right. How did that empower the work that you did while being a Scoutmaster? But you were even more than that. You were a regional.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of people don't understand. What I did really didn't have nothing to do with the kids. It really didn't. I mean, the mission of what I did has everything to do with the kids.
Right.
But my job had nothing to do with the kids. My job was to develop the kind of executive board that would raise as much money as we needed to raise to do whatever we wanted to do for the kids.
Okay.
That was my job.
Okay.
So whether it meant raising $11 million to rebuild camps, whether it meant raising however many $1 million for endowment to support the operating budget, or just raising money just because we have an operating budget. You know, that was my job.
Right.
And the interesting thing about our organization, the more successful you are, the further away from the kids you get. You know, when I started entry level, that's direct line. Right. So I'm working directly with the Scoutmasters that are working directly with the kids. I'm engaged in different activities, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But then when I start managing people, that puts a line in between me and them.
Right.
And every time I get promoted, It's another layer.
Right.
And now I'm selecting what I want to go to, when I want to go to, and that gets a little empty. And that's why when I was in St. Louis, we established a unit there at my church that's still going on today. And we got a unit right now at the church that I'm still a part of right now. Me and my wife are volunteers there.
Okay. Wow. What role has Memphis played in your development as a man? And as
a man?
Well, you didn't get here until, 11 years ago, so I'm assuming you was well into your manhood and your thought processes.
I think Memphis is just kind of the finishing touch in terms of career development.
Okay.
All right. We chose to come to Memphis to finish my career here. That was a conscious decision, moving from Detroit to Memphis. My time working here, it's really mixed. You know, there's so much need in this community, and not as many helpful resources as are needed to really take care of the problem that we have in Memphis, and by extension to Mississippi.
Right.
You know, the Mississippi Delta taught me a lot about what I didn't understand when I was growing up in Chicago watching the race riots. All right.
What do you mean?
I was there.
Unpack that.
When I was growing up in Chicago, King was killed. Democratic National Convention was there. Those big riots, right?
Right.
I was there.
Right.
And I remember, and again, with my mother, riding on the bus and seeing the National Guard out there with their guns facing us, defending the city. And fast forward 40 years, being in the Delta, Mississippi Delta.
Right.
And hearing a conversation in a church about who should be a member of the Boy Scouts and who shouldn't.
Wow.
Yeah, it's real stuff. And it's just like, wow, you know, I promise you, there was one part of the conversation, I just closed my eyes to just listen. And hearing the conversation, both sides, and then running back to 1968 and trying to put that in perspective of, well, Democrats didn't like the Republicans and the black folks didn't like the white folks, and now these scouts that I'm a part of don't like this other group of people who may be of good character, but don't live like these people want them to live, so there's another fight.
Wow. Wow. Any mulligans? Anything you'd like to do over?
Yeah, we don't have enough time. How much time? We don't have enough time for my mulligans. I done made so many mistakes, man. You know.
Give me one. Give me one that you do over.
Well, I wouldn't do it over. I wouldn't do it over. It was getting married the first time I got married. I would not do that again. It was tough.
Really?
It was tough. Yeah. I got two beautiful daughters. And beautiful grandchildren, but that was, you know, that was, if you're asking for a mulligan in my life, that was one that I feel that I messed up the worst.
Okay. How do you reconcile that?
I don't reconcile it. How can I reconcile? It's done, right?
Right.
All I can do is ask for grace and keep moving and try to do the right thing. You know, there are so many things in my past. If there was a way that I could go back and fix them, I would. You know, to avoid the hurt for different people, avoid the bad financial decisions that I made. You know, all that. not speaking when I should have spoke. I'd love to change all that, but you know, that's just part of what got me to where I am now.
Right. All right, we coming to the end, man. So you're going back to St. Louis. You see the house you were raised. You walk up to the door. You walk in. Sitting at the table is young Richard Fisher. What would you say to that young man if you could talk to him today?
You get ready to have a wild ass ride.
Really?
Oh man, my life is, like I said, I've been blessed beyond measure.
Okay. Wow. You gonna have a wild ride. Okay. All right. Well, listen, man. This is it.
All right.
And I want you to leave these folks with a Fisherism, something that they can take with them forever. And I want you to say it right in that camera.
A Fisherism they can take with them.
They say that they know. They sat here and listened to the great Richard L. Fisher.
Man, I'm not like that Kenneth Chenault and all that kind of, I don't have it. I don't have it like that, but I will say, just love everybody else like God loves you.
Hey, can't do it no better than that. Real short and real simple. Just love everybody like God loves you. Listen, I'm Larry Robinson. For the icon that we brought on here, Brother Richard Fisher.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Thank you, brother. Listen, we're going to keep bringing these amazing men to you every time. I just need you to keep coming back, all right? All right. Till next time, The Journey. Take care.